Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out here to talk about the Glock. But as you guys probably know from the name of the video, we're here to talk about the Glock 45. But first, let's take a look at the Gen 5 Glock 19. I'll try not to ramble on too much here, but the Glock 19, the Gen 5, is really just another Glock. Yes, they have the marksman's barrel or whatever they call in it. They have a new slide finish. They've taken the finger grooves off. They've gone from a 2-pin back to a 1-pin. We have removable back straps, which I think they started doing in the Gen 4s. It's just, there's nothing really exciting and new about the gun. They just feel the urge every few years because of competitive pressure to revamp the line. And so we have, nested recoil springs versus just a standard recoil spring, which seemed to work fine, but for whatever reason, Glock wanted to use a more complex spring system. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that never really seems to change the gun all that much. But that's not to detract from the gun's capabilities. The Glock 19 is a handgun I carried for many years. I trust it. It's well made. It's a good gun. It's just not new. No matter how much lipstick they try to put on this old pig, it's still just a Glock. But with that being said, there is a new Glock in town, and that is the Glock 45. Now, where they get their nomenclature, I have no idea why they're calling a Glock 45 when it's chambered in 9mm. I don't know, but maybe one day that little secret will come out. But interesting enough, the Glock 45 is really a take on the 19X, which is kind of sort of the MHS program handgun, sans the manual safety. But anyway, so we're going to start off talking about the little Gen 5 Glock 19 here. Then we're going to take a look at the 19X real quick, and then we're going to show you the G45. So anyway, the Glock is, well, it's a Glock, guys. And one thing I've always noticed, this gun has been shot maybe just a few times. I don't know if Jason can see this, but they seem to struggle with the same things. They're constantly changing the finish on the guns, but one thing they've never really mastered, this gun hasn't been shot that much, and there's really about 60%, 70% finish left on the slide release, and it's never been carried. And they have the ambi slide controls now, which is a nice added feature. But yeah, I mean, there's just nothing that remarkable about it. And I will say, hopefully Glock is starting to move away from this. It's not present on the Glock 45, but you have these horseshoe cutouts and a flared magazine, so the base of the grip kind of flares out. And I've kind of ripped on this handgun because of that. What they're wanting you to do is reach inside to pull a magazine out like this if it's stuck, versus what most people do is pinch and strip the magazines out like that. Some folks have gone so far as to cut their grips this way so they can get a hold of the base plate and strip a magazine out of a gun that's malfunctioned. This is just dumb. This serves no practical purpose. If anything, it can screw up a reload. We've seen people do it. I've had it happen to me where if the magazine doesn't go perfectly in straight, it'll hang up with the loaded around the rim. Will actually hang up on this horseshoe cutout in the back. And it's unergonomic on the 19, especially because your pinky goes right over that horseshoe. With the Glock 45, it's a little bit different. All right, so let's shoot the Gen 5 19. I pretty much stopped being interested in the 19 right around Gen 3. I kind of sort of got into the Gen 4s, but really I just trust the Gen 3 because that's what I ultimately carried for so many years. We have some Federal Syntech ammunition in here. This is from our friends over at LAX Ammunition. We do have a discount code down below. It's for 3% off store-wide, and they already have low prices, but that gives you a little bit extra of a kick. We don't get any financial kickback from the use of that code, meaning we don't get paid for ammunition sales, but they do donate ammunition here to the channel, so we have stuff to shoot. That's our highest recurring cost. All right, I'm going to go ahead and load up the Gen 5 here, do a little bit of shooting with it, and let's take a look at that Glock 19X again real quick before we jump over to the G45. Yeah, I mean, geez, guys, the guns just shoot. They really do. Oh, and say hello to Mr. Rubber Dummy. Rubber Dummies guys send us these targets every once in a while, and they are a lot of fun to shoot. You can even put a t-shirt on them if you want to do a little bit more practical training, but the Rubber Dummies are a lot of fun. All right, so that's the G19 Gen 5. Let's take a look at the next pistol. Ditch this really quick, and then ta-da! In the back pocket, I have the 19X. Now, this pistol is the MHS program pistol, presumably. Although the trials gun had a manual safety back here. We have the ambi controls, we have the user switchable magazine release, and then we have the Coyote Tan, Flat Dark Earth, whatever you want to call it, anodization on the slide, and then the brown grip frame or lower frame assembly, I should call it. But notice that the gun has a 19 sized slide, has the beveled cuts here in the front, and of course we have the RTF style texturing here. But the grip no longer has that flared out side on the grip, but it comes out and flares out here at the bottom. And the magazine, more the Syntex from Federal, the magazine fits into the gun and is protected by this little curvature here. But overall, and it's a G17 sized grip frame, which you can also put, the different back straps on it. I like the smallest, grip, which is no back strap added to it. The other ones just make it feel worse, more like a brick to me. But this gun is extremely ergonomic. It shoots extremely well. Now, I kind of made fun of the gun at first because it's kind of counterintuitive. They've shortened the barrel but left the grip frame long, and when you're trying to conceal a handgun in the civilian world, military applications are different. This is the length or the dimension that you have to worry about in terms of concealability. This gun could have a 6-inch barrel. It's still perfectly concealable because that's going to be inside your waistband. It's going to be concealed by your jeans. If you carry outside the waistband, this is going to make more sense because you're going to print anyway. But for a military handgun, it actually kind of makes sense. For whatever reason, it's hard to put my finger on it, but the 19X really, really shoots good. It feels like a 17, which means you don't have that shortened grip. We no longer have that horseshoe cutout in the front. It is present here in the rear, and they've put a little plug in it for a lanyard on the 19X, which would be a military thing, but the gun feels really, really good. And for whatever reason, that 19 sized slide just shoots so incredibly well. It just feels really, really good. And of course it has night sights on it as well. I mean, it's just a sweet shooting gun, very controllable flat shooting. And for whatever reason, I really have come to like the 19 slide on the 17 grip frame. So that segues nicely into the G45. So we're going to stop here for a minute, grab the G45, load up some magazines, and then we'll talk about the G45. The Glock 45 comes in a typical Glock case. Here we have the pistol, have a magazine loader. We have 4 backstrap inserts that you can put on the back of the pistol. It has a little tree that holds them together. Here is the receipt that I paid for the gun. I don't get guns sent to me from Glock like other folks. I actually buy the guns we talk about here on the channel. You get a cleaning brush. We do get 3 magazines. That's nice. And then you get your lock. And back here in the little pouch, you get a sealed, I'm not going to open it up, I don't see any reason to, but your manuals on the inside here. There's no need to read it. I've read Glock manuals before, and the disassembly and everything else with this gun is just like any other Glock before it. I see no reason to go into that. So that's what you'll find in the box with your new G45. All right, guys, this is the G45. This is a brand new handgun from Glock. This handgun is pretty much the Glock 19X with a few changes to it. You'll notice, first of all, you have forward slide serrations. This isn't the first time Glock has done this. We actually had a Gen 4 gun in from Glock. I forget the model number, but it had forward slide serrations and steel sights versus the plastic sights that are present on the Glock 45 here, or the G45. But these forward slide serrations are back. We still have that curvature, here, that beveling, concealed carry beveling, making it easier to reholster the pistol in the front. And we have a slightly different grip frame. So this would be a Gen 5 style grip frame. It does not have the horseshoe cut out in the front. Still has it here in the back, which can cause reloading issues. My finger's in there. But it doesn't have the horseshoe cut out in the front. It has the flared base to the grip here, which the Glock 19X doesn't have, and we don't have that shelf here in the front that the 19X has that would protect the magazine base plate from impacts coming from this direction. The Glock 19X is said to have problems with earlier generation magazines. I dug through all my magazines I can find, and I've not had any issues with the Glock 19X, but I'm only going back to Gen 3 magazines. I can't seem to find any Gen 2 magazines for whatever reason. I couldn't believe I've upgraded all my magazines. So anyway, that's really the major difference. It's black versus flat dark earth. You have those slight grip changes where you have the flared magazine well here. You have the delete on the horseshoe in the front, still have it in the back, and we have the forward slide serrations. We have the marksman's barrel in it. And one of the things I've noticed about this new barrel is that it's going to be kind of hard to see, so I'll take a picture of it, but you have the rifling stop somewhat back a little bit, and you have a protective ring up here that protects the muzzle of the gun. And that's actually kind of a nice touch. If you carry one of these guns, it's very likely that if you have a holster, which is some of the Kydex are open on the end, you set down hard or you drop down to the ground, you can bang the muzzle into the gun, and that can negatively affect accuracy because it will ding up the crown and cause accuracy issues, or potentially cause accuracy issues. I've definitely seen that happen with some old Milsurp rifles that have been dropped on their muzzles. So it's kind of nice that they've set those riflings back a little bit and have that protective ring around the front of the barrel. So again, this is the marksman's barrel. We have the same ambi controls. You can reverse the magazine release. We have a nice big square magazine release, which is nothing really new, standard accessory rail. And so what we have in essence is a civilian Glock 19X that really feels just like the 19X, but is more practical. Now it has, you can't really say it's more practical, but it has more features that are more practical perhaps to the civilian market. We still have the 19 sized Glock 19 sized slide here with the Glock 19 sized barrel and the 17 sized grip. Now the only thing that Glock's never really done, I wish they would consider, would be enlarging this trigger guard area, because one of the reasons why I quit carrying Glock 19 is because winter came on, I had a gloved hand on, I went to draw my pistol. Instead of taking my glove off like I typically did when I shot at the range, I tried to shoot the pistol with winter gloves on, and I realized when I was pushing my finger into the trigger guard, I was actually pushing back on the trigger, trying to get my gloved finger into the trigger guard. So you'll notice a lot of competitive products out there now have larger openings here in the trigger guard area, allowing you to use a gloved hand more effectively than you can with the Glock itself. So that's one of the improvements I love to see Glock eventually get around to. So the Glock 45 is going to shoot very much like the 19X. I've been shooting the pistol. I had my son out here. We were shooting it one Sunday. He shoots it very well. I shoot the handgun much like I do the 19X. I mean, the gun's just extremely shootable, very pleasant recoil, and really, it's just a Glock. Now, some folks are going to like these forward slide serrations. I don't put my hand up near the muzzle when I'm manipulating the gun. I'm not a real big C-clamper like that. I'm more of a pincher, but it's all personal preference. There's no right way or wrong way. Really, it's just whatever you practice and get used to. But the handgun really, really does shoot nice. I mean, it's just mag dumping right into the center of mass of the target. So what can I say about the Glock 45? Well, I like the gun, guys. It's a really nice shooting gun. It still has those plastic sights. I wish they'd make those metal. I wish Glock would consider enlarging the trigger guard. But aside from that, I'm glad to see the delete on the horseshoe here in the front. And I really like the ambi controls because unlike other guns on the market, you're not able to actually use the slide stop as a slide release. Some people will tell you, oh, never do that. Other trainers that I respect greatly do teach you to insert the magazine, bring this thumb up, and then shoot the gun like that, not using the slide to release it by pulling it rearward, what some people call slingshotting the slide. Whatever you do, this new Glock 19X allows you to do press checks, where some people tell you that's stupid. It'll allow you to actually manipulate the gun for whatever reason you might want to from the front versus the rear. Overall, it just, I think, appeals to more shooters. And I definitely like the whole 19X thing. What I used to make fun of, I'm not making fun of anymore. Now, would I like to see a 17-sized slide and barrel and 19-sized grip frame? Yeah, I'd like to play with that, but I can do that. I can swap parts around if I really want to. But yeah, it's just kind of a nice shooting little pistol. Yep. I know I got one more mag around here somewhere. Yeah, maybe not. So yeah, let's let Jason shoot the gun, see what he thinks of it. I kind of like it. I really do. It's just one of those things, again, it's hard to put your finger on why it shoots so nicely and feels so good in hand. It's not top heavy perhaps. I don't know what it is, but I really do like the way this particular setup shoots. I like how the 19 size slide works on the 17 size grip frame. Now, if I was going to concealed carry this thing, yes, you can conceal it. You're only giving up maybe 1/4 of an inch of length. So it's not impossible to conceal this handgun. And I'm not going to say that it is, you know, it's just desirable to have that grip, you know, maybe 1/4 inch shorter to prevent printing if you're carrying it strong side. cant that forward just a little bit, then you get the hang of your cover garment that won't print when you carry it like this. You'll notice that'll cause more printing. That's why you'll see people canting holsters with the weapon forward, but still, even with that little extra length on the grip, you can see that that would conceal nicely. So anyway, let's let Jason shoot it. We'll just do some more shooting with the G45. We only brought out a couple of types of ammo. We did bring out some steel case. I've never had a problem with the Glock running. So the G45, I've shot several hundred rounds through it so far. No malfunctions. And again, it shoots just like a Glock, or you would expect a Glock to shoot.
All right, I'm going to give this Glock 45 a try here. All right. Well, I have to say, I really do like the way this Glock shoots. I mean, that's just all there is to be said. I mean, it's a Glock, and it shoots great. I like it.
We have some Wolf steel cased ammunition. I don't anticipate any problems. I've been shooting Glocks for 25 plus years, and I've never had a problem with any type of ammo I've ever fed them. So I don't anticipate any problems here. You know what's kind of funny, guys, as I was talking to Jason, it's like, what are we going to talk about here? There's nothing to talk about, really. I mean, it's a Glock. It's the same gun that's been talked about for the last 30 years. I could do a field strip, but why? You know what they look like on the inside. They claim it's the most reliable Glock they've ever made. If we get a nice warm day before winter hits, we'll put that to the test. I know a lot of you guys have asked for a gauntlet test of the G45. We'll do it. They claim it's the most accurate Glock they've ever built. Great. I didn't have a problem with the Gen 2 or the Gen 3 or the Gen 4. It may be mechanically more accurate, but I'm still the loose nut behind the butt plate. The gun perhaps can outshoot me. There's nothing to talk about. It's got front slide serrations and a 17 grip on a 19 slide. We already talked about that with the 19X. That's what's so boring about Glock videos. They're Glocks. They never change. But one thing that's consistent, as our rubber dummy is showing us, is that the darn things shoot. Steel case stuff running just fine. I mean, what else, guys? It's a Glock! If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, you can do that by becoming a Patreon supporter. We don't take money from Glock. We don't take money from Smith & Wesson. We don't take money from CZ. We are 100% viewer supported. You can help support us by following the link down below and going to Patreon. Follow that link, check out some of the incentives, and consider directly supporting us here at the channel. It's both me and Jason that are supported by our Patreons. Also, another great way to support us here at the channel is to ignore the mic wire and check out my General Mattis for 2020, or Chaos, which is his call sign. You can pick up one of these t-shirts or many others from forgedfromfreedom.com. Go to the Mac collection, and that directly supports us here at the Military Arms Channel. And last but not least, if you'd like to pick up a Glock 45 or something else, a red dot sight, an optic, whatever, a rifle, please swing by and check us out at coppercustom.com, which is our online store. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for 10 years of support. And maybe before I die of old age, we'll have a really new Glock handgun to show you guys at some point. Thanks for watching, guys.